You have lost. You lost. The mistake that you made is you let us in the first place. See, that's the thing with brown people. I'm going to say this as a brown person. There's a lot of us, like a lot. There's like 1.2 billion in India. There's more than 200 million in Pakistan. There's like 170 million in Bangladesh. Those are just the people there. I'm even talking about the folks who are expats or immigrants. There's a bunch of us, and we breed. We're a breeding people. And the problem is you let us in 1965. There were a few of us beforehand, but once you let one of us in, you know what happens with brown folks? Our grandmother comes, our grandfather comes, our uncle comes, our aunt comes, our cousin comes, our second cousin comes, our third cousin comes. Then we have kids, a bunch of kids. And then guess what? Some white women, the Western civilization women, the pure women, the American women, quote unquote, the Rust Belt women, the real women, they like some of us brown folks. We don't take them. They come to us. So we're embedded. We are everywhere. We are everywhere. I've traveled this country. I'm going to speak as a brown person. Brown people are everywhere. There will be a Patel motel or there will be a Desi restaurant everywhere. I want you to realize this. You have lost. Your story is a shitty story filled with misery. It's filled with bland chicken. It's filled with terrible, terrible dry ass meat. Your music sucks. All your culture sucks. Nobody. That's why the kids like listen to black people and their music. That's why the kids love Latinos. Your parties suck because they're monochromatic. Our parties have better food, better music, better looking women.
You are a racist, is what you are told if you bring up in the shift of all demographics of Western nations. We went from being 30% white 100 years ago to now the world being 8% white. And if you even bring this up, you are labeled a Nazi, white supremacist, the worst names you could possibly be that will incite violence against you. And that is seen as the moral good. If this was happening to any other group of people, NGOs, liberals, everybody would be screaming about how this is a genocide and how these certain group of people are going to go extinct. But for some reason, since it's white people, it's not a problem. It's seen as it's good because fuck white people, they're evil is what we've all been taught throughout all modern schooling is just white people bad. They did slavery. They're the only ones that did it. White people are colonizers. They're the only ones that ever did it. White people are the only ones that ever made people feel bad in the world. And a lot of this can get brought back to the post-World War II liberal economic world that we are forced on. Having a border is racist. Cultural identity is xenophobic. Wanting to live in the country your grandparents actually built, that's fucking fascism. We went from nations to giant shopping malls with flags. And it all goes back to Hitler. Because Hitler wanted to preserve his country, because Hitler cared about his nation. So everything that Hitler did is bad. So we have to be the opposite of Hitler. Even if that means erasing our whole entire identity and our whole entire culture. As long as we're not like the bad Nazi guys. And the moral propaganda machine is the media, the universities, and the corporations that push this same script. Unlimited immigration is compassion. Demographic replacement, well, it's inevitable. If you disagree, they claim you hate everyone and want violence, which is just a lazy way to shut people up. They pretend moral superiority while living in gated zip codes far away from the actual chaos. Incentives behind the agenda are the politicians want a new voter who depends on the state. And the best way to get that is by importing a bunch of poor people that don't share any value of the society they're coming into and only care about extracting wealth. Corporations want cheaper labor and more obedient workers. If an American costs $50 an hour to do a job, but you can get an Indian to do the job for $30 an hour, yeah, economically that makes sense for short returns. But for a society and a nation to build a future, that's not good. That is selfish. And it makes people hate capitalism And that's how we get Zoran Mandami and communists, because they are getting screwed, but they're too fucking stupid to understand how they're getting screwed and how to stop getting screwed. The universities and nonprofits survive on diversity grants. They get paid money by the government by filling quotas and having a certain demographics of people in these institutions. They are forced by the government to have a certain amount of minorities or they don't get money. That's pretty fucking crazy. And that leads to everyone at the top gets richer and more powerful. Everyone at the bottom gets silenced and it has a miserable future where they can't afford basic stuff that my grandparents could afford. And these newcomers, as they like to call them, don't assimilate. People aren't moving to Western civilizations to become Western. They move there to bring little Baghdad to Germany, to the UK, to Ireland, to America, to Dearborn. They bring their old grudges, their old culture, and their old politics with them. And instead of encouraging assimilation, our leaders tell them, no, 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 keep your identity, change the host country. No, you don't need to learn English to live in America. No, that's racist for people to think that you should have to learn English to live in an English country. Fucking retarded. And the global hypocrisy. Japan protects its culture and everyone applauds. Nigeria protects its culture and everyone applauds. Mexico protects its culture and everyone applauds. Only the West is told, you don't get a culture, you don't get a demographic, you don't get a future. It's a one-way street and everyone can see it. That's why you have Gen Z men that are becoming racist, because it's a reaction to the system that we are forced to live in right now. Because preserving what is yours isn't hate, it's normal. For people to want a homeland, that's normal. For people to want a culture to survive, that's normal. It's normal to honor your ancestors and maintain a continuity with them and to build upon what they built for you to be there. The idea that that is evil is so absurd. It only comes from a society that has totally lost its fucking mind. And this is why dissidence gets crushed. Because if normal people honestly debated demographics, the whole ruling class loses its power overnight. So they smear, censor, deplatform, and emotionally blackmail anyone who notices what's happening. It's not about morality. It's about control. They want control over you. They want votes. They want more money. They don't care who's doing the jobs. They don't care who's casting the votes. They don't care about any of that because they don't have any morals other than power. And demographics are destiny. A nation that replaces its people replaces its future. If another group gets to preserve their identity, so do we. If diversity is so great, why is it only one demographic required to disappear for it to work? That's the question they can't answer. And that's exactly why you have to ask it. Why is it only Western nations that are supposed to flood their countries with infinite amount of immigrants, legal and illegal, and if you say anything about it, you are a evil person. In Mexico, in Mexico City, they have protests against white people and people that don't speak Spanish there, going and working there and raising prices and destroying their way of life. We're not allowed to do that though. And the only reason is because we are white and we're supposed to hate each other. Fuck that. Fuck you.